Idi Amin's early life remains shrouded in mystery. He was born in Koboko, Uganda, around 1925. Amin received little formal education. He joined the British colonial army, the King's African Rifles, in 1946. Amin was a formidable boxer, rising to become Uganda's light heavyweight champion. This athletic prowess earned him recognition. Amin quickly rose through the ranks of the army. He was a key figure in suppressing the Mau Mau uprising in Kenya. Amin gained a reputation for brutality and ruthlessness. After Uganda gained independence in 1962, Amin's influence grew. He became close to the new Prime Minister, Milton Obote. Obote appointed Amin as the commander of the Ugandan army. By 1970, Amin held significant power within Uganda. He used his position to amass wealth and influence. Amin feared that Obote was planning to remove him from power. In 1971, while Obote was attending a Commonwealth conference, Amin seized control of the government in a military coup. Amin declared himself president of Uganda. Amin's coup marked the beginning of a dark chapter in Ugandan history. His rule was characterized by brutality, corruption, and economic mismanagement. Amin's regime left an indelible mark on Uganda, the consequences of which are still felt today. Amin consolidated his power with an iron fist. He eliminated his political opponents, both real and imagined. Amin purged the army and government of those he deemed disloyal. He created a climate of fear and paranoia. Amin's security forces, particularly the State Research Bureau and the Public Safety Unit, were responsible for widespread human rights abuses. In the early days of his rule, Amin enjoyed some popularity. He presented himself as a man of the people. Amin promised to bring prosperity to Uganda. He nationalized many businesses, transferring ownership from Asian Ugandans to black Ugandans. Amin's economic policies were initially popular with some segments of the population. However, Amin's lack of economic expertise quickly became apparent. His policies were poorly planned and implemented. The expulsion of Asian Ugandans, many of whom were business owners, had a devastating impact on the economy. Uganda's economy began to spiral downwards. Amin's erratic behavior and brutality alienated many of his early supporters. The international community condemned his human rights abuses. Uganda became increasingly isolated on the world stage. In 1972, Amin ordered the expulsion of all Asians from Uganda. He accused them of exploiting the country's wealth. This decision had a catastrophic impact on the Ugandan economy. Asians played a vital role in Uganda's economy, controlling many businesses and industries. The expulsion of Asians led to a shortage of skilled labor and capital. Businesses were abandoned or mismanaged. Production plummeted. The economy went into a tailspin. Hyperinflation took hold. Essential goods became scarce. Long lines formed outside shops. The Ugandan shilling became almost worthless. Amin's response to the economic crisis was to print more money. This only fueled inflation. He blamed the country's economic woes on external forces, particularly the West. Amin's economic policies were a disaster for Uganda. The expulsion of Asians is widely seen as a turning point in Amin's rule. It marked the beginning of his descent into tyranny and economic ruin. The Ugandan economy never fully recovered from this disastrous decision. As Amin's grip on power tightened, his paranoia and brutality intensified. He became increasingly suspicious of anyone who might challenge his authority. Amin's security forces were given free rein to silence any dissent. They operated with impunity, committing widespread human rights abuses. Amin's reign of terror targeted anyone perceived as a threat. Tribes seen as loyal to Obote, such as the Acholi and Langi, were particularly targeted. Thousands were killed or disappeared. Many were tortured and murdered in gruesome ways. Bodies were dumped in rivers or left to rot in the streets. The exact number of victims is unknown. Estimates range from tens of thousands to hundreds of thousands. Amin's regime was one of the most brutal in African history. The trauma of his rule continues to haunt Uganda today. Amin's brutality was not limited to his own people. In 1976, he allowed a hijacked Air France plane to land at Entebbe airport. Amin colluded with the hijackers, holding the passengers hostage. Israeli commandos eventually stormed the airport, freeing the hostages in a daring raid. This incident further tarnished Amin's international reputation. By the late 1970s, Amin's regime was crumbling. The economy was in ruins. The army was demoralized and poorly equipped. International condemnation of Amin's human rights abuses was growing. Amin's paranoia and isolation increased. He surrounded himself with sycophants and yes-men. In 1978, Amin ordered the invasion of neighboring Tanzania. He believed that a foreign war would distract from his domestic problems. The invasion backfired spectacularly. The Tanzanian army, backed by Ugandan exiles, repelled the invasion and pushed into Uganda. They captured the Ugandan capital, Kampala, in April 1979. Amin fled into exile, first to Libya and then to Saudi Arabia. He lived out the rest of his days in Jeddah, Saudi Arabia. Amin died in 2003. He never faced trial for his crimes. Amin's fall from power was greeted with jubilation by many Ugandans. However, the country he left behind was in ruins. Amin's legacy continues to cast a long shadow over Uganda. His rule left the country deeply divided. The economy was in shambles. The infrastructure was destroyed. The education and healthcare systems were in disarray. Uganda has made significant progress since Amin's overthrow. The country has held democratic elections. The economy has grown. However, the scars of Amin's tyranny run deep. Many Ugandans still bear the trauma of his rule. Amin's legacy is a cautionary tale about the dangers of unchecked power and dictatorship. It is a reminder of the importance of human rights, good governance, and the rule of law. Uganda is still grappling with the consequences of Amin's reign. Music became a powerful tool for expressing the pain, fear, and resilience of the Ugandan people during Amin's reign. Songs offered a subtle form of resistance, whispering truths that couldn't be spoken aloud. One such song, whispered in hushed tones, spoke of the disappearances. These lyrics, though simple, captured the chilling reality of living under Amin's oppressive regime. The disappearance of loved ones, the ever-present fear, and the feeling of helplessness resonated deeply with those who lived through those dark times. This chorus, a plea for liberation, reflects the enduring hope that sustained the Ugandan people. It speaks to their unwavering belief in a brighter future, a future free from Amin's tyranny.